Hi, my name is Melanie, and I'm from Huga Craft. And one of the things that I like to do with my crafting classes is reuse and repurpose and recycle things that would otherwise become garbage. So today I'm going to show you how to make little plastic planters out of ordinary 20-ounce pop bottles. You can use any size bottle. You don't have to use the 20-ounce bottle, but this makes a nice little size for starting plants or to make as a gift for Mother's Day or Easter or something like that. You can use any design that you want. Today I'm going to show you how to make a little cat because that's what I like to do most, is make the little cat ones. But you can make any animal or any design that you want. The system, the process would be the same. You just have to use whatever creativity is in your own mind. So what we're going to start with is a 20-ounce bottle. And you see I have drawn on here the shape of a cat head. So what you're going to use is the smooth part is the part that's going to get cut away. This kind of has a little cat shape, which is why I like to use it. And I like to take the two little bumps that are here in the front and make those little front paws. And then I like to have the two that are at the side be the little side paws. And that's how I'm going to decorate it. When you're cutting a plastic bottle, please be careful and make sure that you're using the right supplies. You can use scissors, but if you do use scissors, I'd use a good sharp pair of scissors and cut with just the tip of the scissors. Don't try to cut full on like that because you might lose control of it. You might shoot the bottle out and then snip your fingers. You can also use an X-Acto knife or some other kind of crafting knife or crafting blade. But again, you want to be really careful and use the right safety precautions when you're doing this. For this one, I drew on this with just a plain old Sharpie. I use a dark color so that I can see it clearly, and I'm going to cut out that shape, and then I'm going to cut right along the lip that comes along the side of the bottle. Now for this bottle, it's going to have the brand name on it, but that's just one of the things we're going to deal with when we reuse things, and that's okay. Really, I like it for the shape. The shape makes a cute little cat. When you're starting out, pop a hole up in the top where it won't matter the part that you're going to cut away. So if you squeeze your bottle and make a little tip like that, and you hold it down against the table, and then carefully snip a little hole into it, you'll be able to just pop it back, excuse me, and you'll be able to put your scissors right into the little hole that you just cut. Once I start cutting, I'll cut all the way around, and I'm going to cut away the excess first, and then I'm going to work on the actual shape of my design. It's a lot easier if you cut away first. I cut my hole and now my scissors don't want to go into it. So again, be very careful. So I'm just going to cut away this part. It's a lot easier to do without all that excess. These type of things you can keep. You can use them for a lot of things around your household. These make great little spouts that you can add to bags or to the tops of jars. So if you have a use for it, keep it. There's no need to throw it away. You can also use them as funnels, or you can use them in gardening if you want to. I have another craft that involves using the tops of these, and I'll be making a video on that, and that'll go up on my website if you want to follow that. So I've cut off the excess on the top, and now I can just cut around my design. So I like to cut down to that lip so I have something to push into and hold on. And you just cut with tiny little snips towards the corners. So I wouldn't come up away from that corner, I would cut right back down to the corner, and it cuts it a lot easier if you do it that way. So again, I'm going to cut down to the corners, and it just drops it away. Rather than trying to maneuver the scissors around, that's just going to increase the likelihood of cutting yourself, and that's what we don't want to do. So we cut down all the way down, and now I'm all ready to do the rest. So I'm going to cut down to my corner, pull that little piece off. And I cut down to my corner. And now I have just a plain lip to cut off. And it's a lot easier and safer if you do it that way. You're not going to cut your fingers on the blade, and you're not going to cut your fingers on that plastic that's sticking out. You can see I can keep my hands pretty far away from it. And there you go, all cut out. So I'll get rid of my plastic pieces. Excuse me. So once I have this, I can start decorating, because this is basically it. I do not put drain holes in the bottoms of these, mainly because you are covering them with acrylic paint, and over time that'll bubble up if you get a lot of water in it. So what I do when I plant in these is I put tiny pebbles in the bottom for drainage, and then I put my soil on top of that. And these are not going to be for keeping plants in unless it's a small plant like a succulent that doesn't require a great big amount of soil to grow its roots in, or an air plant if you wanted to put something like that in here. But it's a great one to use for starters, and they look really cute on the window. So to decorate this, you're just going to need basic acrylic paints. I have a selection of them here that I can use. All kinds of acrylic paints. Any kind of acrylic paint works really well. You can use a matte finish or a glossy finish. It's really whatever your preference is. To finish it off, when we're done, I also have a selection of paint pens. I like to use paint pens. If you don't have paint pens, it's okay. You can just use more acrylic paint. I just like that the paint pens give you a fine line to use, and you can do a lot of more detail work with them. Excuse me. And you'll find that the result is pretty nice too. So what you're going to see with this is that the plastic doesn't take the acrylic paint really well at first. And a lot of things that you paint with acrylic paints are going to be like that. You're going to have brush strokes and that sort of thing. I like to cover with a base coat of white before I do any colors. It makes it so that you can get a much more vibrant color and a more opaque look out of it. If you don't care about that, and that's fine, use whatever color you want to. So I have one that I started, and I started this one with a base coat of white. You can see the white from the inside. Don't put paint inside your pots. We're painting only on the outside because we are going to put something living inside, and we don't want to mix that with paint. But I did do 2 coats of white on this first, and then I started with brown. I'm making a little brown and white kitty. You can use any color you want. My daughter likes to make everything in rainbows, so no matter what animal she makes, it's going to be a rainbow animal. And you're only really limited by your creativity. So what I've done here is I have started this one. It's the same shape you see, and I have painted it 2 coats of white, and now I have my coat of brown. Now I could leave it like this. You see there are brush strokes on there, and that's fine. I could paint another coat on top of it, and that's fine too. It's whatever you want to do. And really, it's just to get you doing something creative and using something in a way that maybe you hadn't thought of using it before. Whatever you do is going to be right. As my daughter says, there are no mistakes in art. So with this little guy, I really wanted to make it a little black and white, a little brown and white kitty. So I'm going to use, I have a selection of brushes. If you only have one kind of brush, just use one kind of brush. You don't have any brushes? Use a sponge brush or use a Q-tip. You know, really, we only limit ourselves. There's lots of things that you can do with what you already have in your house. And as long as you're giving yourself a creative outlet, you're doing it right. So I'm going to put some white, and I have a palette. You see, it's just a paper plate because I can throw it away and not have to clean up the mess. and that's fine. I can hold my pot with my hand just like that. And even little hands can do this. So I do have some wet spots on here, and those are probably going to bleed into the white a little bit. I don't care, because again, whatever we're doing is right. So I'm going to make a little white face on here, and I like the idea of the little cats that have a little white face that goes down into their little neck. It maybe makes a little bib, or whatever you would call that, the little tuxedo that you have on a cat. So I'm going to have mine. He's going to have a little white stripe that comes right down between his eyes. And then I'm going to make a nice big white spot on his little chest. Just like that. How cute. And then I think I'm going to give my guy some little white paws as well. And again, I'm just putting a little bit of paint on his little feet. That's as hard as it is. Once you start doing these, you'll start to come up with all kinds of ideas in how you would do it. And I want my little feet to be a little rounder, so I'm going to put a little line on top. Look how cute. And then I might even do his little back feet. So I'm going to do his little back feet the same way. And if it's not perfect, if it's got a little wavy line in it, that's okay, because cats are born that way too. And I'm going to put another little foot over here. Look at that little guy. Oh, he's so cute. He's already adorable. And maybe I'll put the little insides of his ears. Maybe I'll make those white too. So I'm going to put a little triangle there inside of one ear. And then I'm going to put another triangle inside of this ear. Are they perfect? Nope. But it's okay, because whatever we're doing is right. So I've got all that going. And so the one thing that I don't have painted on is his little tail. I like to use that as the guidance for the little tails. And I'm going to give him a white outline for his tail and a white tip. But if you don't want to do it like that, you don't have to. You don't even have to give him a tail if you don't want to. But I like to give my cats a little tail. So I start right here at his little bum. And I'm going to start at the bottom there, like that. And I'm going to make a shape kind of like an S. And this one is going to have a white tip on his tail. Oh, looks like a little bit of brown got in there. It's okay. I'm not worried about that at all. And now I have a white tip for his tail. I'll add a little more white to that. And then you just kind of keep it going the same. And then he has his tail on the back. I'm going to add a little more white to give me more of a solid tip there. When that dries, if I want it to be more white, I'll make it more white. So now I have all kinds of stuff going on with my little kitty here. You see how quick it can be. And you can take as long as you need to. You can draw all kinds of designs on there, and you don't even need to make it a cat. You can make it anything. My daughter, my other daughter, likes to cut the whole top off, and she makes them look like little brick towers, and then she'll paint a window and paint a little girl, maybe a little Rapunzel or something inside the tower. She likes to do it that way. So once I have this on here, I think I might clean my brush off a little bit here. And I think I might make my face a little whiter. And this little white spot. And make it a little more vibrant. There you go. Look at that cute little face. Isn't he cute? So once I've got that done, you can wait for it to dry, or you can use a hairdryer. If you use a hairdryer on one of these bottles, don't get it too close. You'll find that the plastic will start to shrink, and then it will start to warp, and then it'll start to melt. Even with just the regular heat setting on a hairdryer, you can melt these. Not only will it change the shape, but it does kind of give off a little bit of fumes. So you want to not do that, especially in a closed space. If you just don't have the patience to wait for it to dry, then go ahead and use a hairdryer, but hold it far away and move it. Keep it moving while it dries. You can also just fan it like that if you want to, and that'll get it to dry. But since a lot of my face isn't going on that part, I am going to go ahead and use my pens to make the eyes. So I'm going to have a black pen that I'm going to use for the eyes, and I'm going to use a pink pen to make a little nose. And I do a standard face on everything just to make it easier. I don't get too realistic, if you will, with these because they're just supposed to be cute. But if you are really good at it and you want to take the challenge of making something really unique and beautiful, go ahead and do it. You know, you're really only limited by your own imagination. If you don't like the way it comes out, if you say, you know what, I changed my mind, this doesn't look like what I wanted it to, the great thing about acrylic paint is once it's dry, you can paint right over it. You can just paint over it as many times as you want to, and you can start it all over again. So this is what I'm starting with. I've got my pen, and this is an Aerowick pen, but you can also use a Posca pen or something like that. Sharpies don't work real well on this. They kind of just push the paint that you've already put down around. But if that's all you have, you can start working with it and see what you can do. So on my guy's face, I'm going to do little happy face eyes, and I'm just gently making the little shape of a happy face eye. You can probably hear my kids in the other room. So I've got my little happy face eyes. I like to do those. And I like to put the little eyelashes on there because it makes them cute. So I've got little happy face eyes. And then I get a little paint on my pen, so I'm going to move it. And you can draw whiskers on here, or you can just put dots. I like to put whiskers on, so I'm going to carefully draw my whiskers. Not pressing the pen on too much. If you've ever used these, you know you don't really have to do a whole lot to get these, to get your paint out. Are they perfect? Perfect for me. Is there a perfect? No. You know what? If you're enjoying what you're doing, that's really all that matters. So I drew some whiskers on there. And I'm going to get a little paint got on my brush. I want to keep it clean. On my pen, I want to keep it clean. Close it up tight. And now I'm going to use my pink. These pens, if you press down on them, you shake them up, and you press down a little bit, it gets that paint flowing on the tip. Now I can draw my cute little nose, which I'm just doing by tapping because my paint is still a little tacky and I don't want to make a mess out of it. I want it to look like a little nose. Oop. Looks like some of my paint came up. And that's okay too. I might even make his nose a little bigger just because. Why not? Who doesn't like a cute little kitten nose? There's my little kitten nose. And there's one thing missing after I get the nose on. I gotta put his little mouth on. And if you don't like it, let it dry, paint over it. And there you go. It's a cute little cat with a cute little tail. Is it perfect? No. Is it adorable? Absolutely. And you can do anything you want with it. You don't like my style? Don't do it that way. Do it whatever way you want to. But it gets a little piece of trash out of the garbage can and used for something else. And you can keep reusing it over and over again. And if over time the paint starts to come off, paint some more on there. Reuse it. Make it something useful. Don't throw it in the trash. You can make little baskets out of these for Easter. You can make it into a little bunny. You can do all kinds of things if you just think about it and be creative and just try to think outside the box or outside the plastic bottle. Thank you very much. I hope you guys like this and I hope you guys get the chance to try to do something with it. And we'll see. Maybe I'll do some more for you. Thank you.